Okay, so this is Alteryx Week Challenge 265, and it's marked as difficult, and it's definitely a longer challenge and something that took me a little while to work my way through on a Monday morning. I definitely did have a sneak peek at the solution because I'd gone down a different route and I just couldn't work out how I was going to work it out. So it's always best to learn from that and have a little look to get you back started rather than just, struggling onwards. My other caveat is that I definitely haven't done it in the optimal way, and it takes about 2 minutes to run this workflow, so not the best, but it works, so I'm happy. Okay, so we start off with all of our states. So we have the shape files there. So we want to know which states are bordering with one another. So we can use this spatial match tool where just joining this data set in the target and the universe to say where target touches universe. Then that'll come out of the match. So we get 218. Basically, every time that a state touches another state, that is a row. And so we're just renaming those columns to be 1 and 2. So we just get those state abbreviations there. Okay, so we've got 2 of our 4 states now, so we just want to build this up a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to join so we've got, for example, if I go before there, we've got Alabama is what we're going to think about, and there are 4 states that touch Alabama. So what states touch then Florida? That's what we want to look at. So in order to get to that, we say we want to join 2 to 1. So if we go down to Florida here, for example, then we can see that Florida touches Alabama, which we already know, and also Georgia. Okay, so when we do that, if we just rename that number 2 there to be 3, then out we get. I had to do this a lot whilst I was working this out. I had to keep sorting it in ascending order so that I could see what I was just looking at before. Okay, there we are. Now we get Alabama, and we get 2 rows for Florida, and that is Florida touching Alabama and Georgia. Cool, so we just want to filter out these rows where Alabama equals Alabama. So we do a quick filter there. And then we do a similar logic now to get our 4th column. So looking at our 3rd column, what states are touching those in the 3rd column? So we join it back to what comes out of our spatial match tool. And now we can see, so if I then sort this again, which I've had to do a lot, there we go. Sort that to Alabama. I'll just sort these as well. Then we see our Florida fields there, so we can see where it touches Georgia, what touches Georgia. Okay, we're going to have to filter out this Florida row and this Alabama row, but what touches Georgia are Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So we'll have those 3 rows for those 3 different combinations. Okay, so we do that filtering and we've got about 3,310 rows left. Okay, so then we go ahead and put a record ID on there. And this is the part where I do things that aren't quite optimal, but you can check the official solution if you want to see a more optimal approach. So I transpose that and I group them together, so concatenate them. So this is all of the different like state combinations that we have here now. So that's just all of those states that we had before, literally just sticking them together. It might have been more optimal to stick them together in alphabetical order, but anyway, we're not thinking about that. So next, from those stuck together states, I tokenize them out, sorry. So we did that record ID so that we could still understand what was grouped together. So to the individual letters, and then just for each state combination, group by the letter and count how many of them there are. So then we do the exact same thing there with the 8-letter word input, so number them, tokenize them out so that we get an individual letter, and then count how many letters are in each word. Join those together on the letter equal to the word and the count equal to the count. And that gives us 136 million rows. So you can see why this wasn't an optimal approach. And then we're just looking to see if we're grouping by our 8-letter words and state combinations and just summing up the count. So we want that to equal to 8 so that all 8 letters are included, and then filter that afterwards. We get 142 words which can be made by those states. So then we join it back, so we get our 8-letter word. So we need the states, and then we need the words themselves to come through. So for the challenge, we only want one example of each word and which are the states that make up that word. So we can just use a unique tool here to get down to our 36 records. Then we just create the output and get rid of all the unnecessary fields. So that's nice and simple. And creating the heat map isn't too difficult either. So we keep at the 142 different words that we've made from the different state combinations. We do a little bit of transposing to see all those states again individually, group them up and count how many times they appear, join it back onto our spatial file, so that states spatial file, and then set up a report map. So the report map looks like this. And in order to configure it, I went to data, went to that number 1 and made sure that my thematic field was the count there. And then for my data layers, I just added in a polygon layer so that that comes in. And finally, I just got rid of the legend here. So went to the legend tab and said none because there was none in the report up here. So that's a quick walkthrough of this challenge. Hopefully it was useful if you're getting stuck too. So thanks very much for watching.